Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Blogging ABCs. I'm your host, Deborah Carney, along with my co-host,
Vinny O'Hare,
and Trisha Myers. And we have a guest today, James Martell, who has been blogging for, well, I guess pretty much everybody has been blogging forever.
Pretty much.
So today we're going to hit on a topic that we all have some experience with, and it's something that bloggers can, because bloggers collaborate a lot, what is a good way to collaborate is to have guest posts and to do guest posts on other people's blogs that are similar to yours. So, James, why don't you tell us what are some good reasons to go out there and do guest posts?
Great question. It's, it goes back to the early days of, and the whole area of building traffic and exposure and getting your name out there, getting out in front of other people. So it gives you the ability to really extend your reach. You can get yourself in front of other audiences. So if you've got a product or service that you're representing, or some type of digital book or something that you're marketing, this gives you the ability to go out and really get known on other websites. We've of course all have our own websites, and our followers and our visitors know us and our content, but if you can get out there in half a dozen or maybe a dozen other websites and really create a presence in those sites, then you can really extend your reach really quickly. And in addition to that, of course, you also get some of those always important backlinks to your website.
Right. Trisha, have you found the same thing?
Absolutely. Extending your reach to have their audience become your audience as well, but also the bloggers themselves. I find that when you do a guest post for somebody else, number one, they tend to follow you a little bit more because now you've done something nice for them. So they may start following you on Twitter, they may Facebook friend you, they might start posting links for you in other places just because you've done something nice for them. So they may become part of your network then, if they're not already. And they also might do a guest post for your site. So while you're doing one for them and building your audience, they may take that time that you've saved them and do one back for your site to add some new content to your site as well.
And it gives your blog a little bit of a different voice. We all have our blogs with our own voices, but for instance, Vinny, you've had guest bloggers on your racing site.
On the racing site, I've had plenty of guest bloggers, and the best part about it is they actually promote you. After they send you in the content, they'll actually tweet it out to all of their followers, and all of a sudden those followers come back to my blog and sign up for my email newsletter.
And the other thing about his guest bloggers is that they're not people with their own blogs and their own websites. So if people want to read them, they have to go to Vinny's blog to find their content.
Right, my blog actually becomes their blog. They become my biggest cheerleader.
Right, and then you also guest blog for...
I also guest blog on Racing in America blog, which is all about auto racing and
it's the Henry Ford Museum.
Ford Museum. And it immediately, my blog became an authority in auto racing because of it, and I picked up all of their followers that follow me now and joined my newsletter. So it's a win-win-win.
Right, and Trisha, that's pretty much... You run some multiple user blogs. Am I correct in that you have some people that they may or may not have their own blog, but they blog on one of your sites?
Right. I have two different multi-user blogs that, we use them primarily as a way to drive traffic back to all of our other sites. So we've built up those two multi-user blogs as a way to, drive more traffic to other blogs and other sites that we have. So we have our content that we're generating, which it really isn't all that much, but then we have all of these other guest bloggers, and I would say maybe half of them have their own blogs, but we have integrated some of our affiliate links into those sites so that they can make a little bit of money in addition to being able to get links back to the other blogs that they have. So they're benefiting not only with backlinks to their blogs, but also a little bit financially through the affiliate links and the affiliate revenue that we share with them.
That's awesome. Now, James, what are some different ways you've utilized guest blogging?
I've been really at this point spending a lot of time guest posting on or guest blogging on quite a number of other sites. And one of the things that, I've noticed, I've been sitting here scratching my head over the last, week or so, wondering where are all these followers coming from on Twitter? And it's literally grown. It usually grows, reasonably well. But in the last month or month and a half, we've had about 600 followers come on. And I'm trying to figure out where. And the only thing that I'm doing different is guest blogging. And I've got a little plan in place where I've got half a dozen blogs here that I have already submitted quite a number of articles to, and my plan is just to continue to add a fresh page of content or a fresh article to these sites at least once a week for at least the next few months, and probably ongoing, because it really is proven to be just a dynamite way to really build the exposure. And I think guest blogging is really, we talk about social media as really the next frontier or Facebook. Guest blogging is right up there. This is one of these little ideas that's come along, and I think we're at the very infancy of something very, very big here.
I agree.
Well, and I think it's because, all of us are in the affiliate marketing space, right? And we all started with websites and with the mindset that you can't share your sites with anybody else because they'll steal your content. And I think that as blogging has come about, bloggers are a community within themselves, and they don't care. If you guys are both selling the same thing, have the same affiliate links, have the same advertisers, you don't care. You basically want to share content and link to each other and help each other, because that's what the blogging community does. There are, of course, the super bloggers that don't want to have anything to do with anybody else, but in general, mom bloggers, dad bloggers, get pigeonholed, but in general, all the bloggers just support each other. And, like Trisha, you're going to be away for a couple weeks. So instead of trying to stack up a couple blog posts ahead of time, you get a guest blogger that can fill in those couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And the other thing too, now, James, you're a big outsource person. Do you have other people write some of these posts for you? Do you elance out getting the posts created, or are you creating this content yourself?
For the most part, I create a lot of it myself, but I do outsource a fair bit of it as well. And what I do is simply put together a very detailed outline of a post that I'd like to get on another website. And on that topic, what I do is I approach that guest blog or that blog, and I give them an idea. I've got an idea for 3 articles. My goal here is not to get one article on that site. My goal here is to get a series of articles. So I basically plan it out, and then in some cases I will take the ideas, I'll really flesh them out usually I use Google Documents, bullet point them, and then I'll give them to a writer to write it out for me, and then I'll edit it, and then we'll just schedule them on that guest post if we've got login, or we'll send them over to them as a batch.
And I think that's important to note too, that the same way you write or provide content for your own blogs, whether it's outsourcing or writing it yourself, you can do that for your guest posts too. Trisha, I know you write pretty much all your stuff yourself.
I do. And one of the questions I was actually thinking about as I was putting my notes together for this was asking James, do you write all of yours completely unique for each guest post that you do, or do you take, a post and just kind of mix it up and use that as a guest post? I know I try to make mine, like every one I try to write from scratch, so I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to gyp the person that's putting up the post for me. I just feel like if they're nice enough to put it up, I should give them the full. But I can also see where if you're writing about the same things a lot of times, like, maybe something new that you're working on or something like that, there's only so many ways to mix up the same information and put it into a post. So how do you deal with that?
You know what? A couple things come to mind on that. First off, I agree that they should have an article that's an original to them as far as the text on the page. But as far as coming up with a 100% original idea for each one, let's say I've got my 6 that I work on that I'm focused on now. I'll put together one outline for that, and then I'll outsource it to maybe 2 writers. I've got 2 writers that write for me all the time, but I give them so much information for the post that it's really my words in so much of it anyways, but they just basically structure it, and they're better writers than I am, and they will write it. But every one of those articles is generally the same topic, but maybe a slightly different slant on it. I think, there's this thing out there, well, you can't put this post on anybody else's site. And I got a whole theory on that, the pendulum on this duplicate content thing is completely gone reverse in the wrong direction again. But I do it. I don't write a unique article for each one. It's not fast enough. I don't have enough time, and we're in front of completely different audiences anyway. So they don't. It's just as good a quality. It's just as well written. It's just maybe a slight twist on it.
And that's what I agree with too, because when I post our podcasts, I do it on several different sites, and they all get the same show notes. There's other people that syndicate our show notes. I'm not worried about duplicate content in this case because it's hitting different audiences, and it isn't all about Google anymore. Like you said, Facebook, if these people where you're posting, it gets network blogged on Facebook from 5 different people over a 2-week span, even though it's the same article, you're getting more traffic from real people that are interested in your topic than you are getting from search engine results.
Well, sometimes even using the podcast as an example, people ain't even seeing the content. Like us with the droids, right? We're getting the RSS feed, so we're never seeing the post. People in iTunes aren't seeing the post. Right. So it's getting utilized in different ways.
And you know what? On the topic of duplicate content, Google's not after us for that. They're not. They don't. Google doesn't care if we've got the same post on 2 or 3 different websites because it just naturally occurred. And in fact, I've noticed they're not even filtering them from the results. You can have your same page on different sites show up multiple times in the results. Right. The duplicate content issue goes back to this era that we just, thank goodness, came out of, where people would write an article and then mass blast it out to 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 crappy blogs. Right. And that's the issue they had to deal with. So I have no problem. I do exactly the same thing you do. My descriptive text for my podcast is put onto 3 different websites, and it's syndicated out all over the place. There's no problem with that. That's not the issue with duplicate content. And a lot of bloggers should maybe rethink that a little bit, because yes, I do agree that I would love to have the article exclusive and unique to me, but it's not the end of the world if it happens to end up somewhere else.
Well, and that's like, I know Trisha and I and Vinny have all written for Feedfront Magazine, and the agreement with them is that you wait for it to come out in the magazine, right? And then once it comes out in the magazine in print, I will then post the article that I wrote to my Team Loxley website and to my whichever website it's appropriate for, probably affiliate ABC's website, and I'll post it in my forum, and it gets posted on the Feedfront website, and then from there it gets syndicated to all over the place. So again, you can give someone first use, right? They can have the right. It's like the old publishing world. You get the you get the first rights, but then reprint rights, we go all over with it. So
that's good. That's good feedback, I think, for bloggers, because I think a lot of people are probably hesitant to do guest posts because they're thinking, well, I'm already creating so much content myself. How do I find time to do guest posts for somebody else's site too? So, the extent to which you can repurpose some of that, switch it up just a little bit, I think that might encourage more people to do guest posts.
Well, and there's a couple of places that are good to look for guest posters and to post information that you're available as a guest poster that bloggers might not know about. One is called Blogger Link Up. It's bloggerlinkup.com, and you can both say, you can say, I have a blog where I'd love for people to review certain products, or James, I'd like some information, I'd like guest posters talking about kit cars. And, Vinny can post, I'm looking for NASCAR writers. And on the flip side, you subscribe to this email that comes out 3 times a week, and you can scroll through and see if there are people that are offering guest posts or that are requesting guest posts in a topic that you would like. And I actually got several posters to my pet-oriented sites from that, and I got a regular RSS feed. So instead of just guest posting, I got permission to syndicate. You know, whenever this woman has a post that goes on her blog, I pull it into my relevant blog via the RSS feed. So that's a really down and dirty simple way of guest posting, is just allowing people to syndicate your RSS feed. And then the other place to get story ideas or people that you can interview if you're looking for content is to post in the Harrow, help a reporter out. And I actually put together an entire panel for an affiliate summit by posting that I was looking for mommy bloggers that wanted to learn about affiliate marketing. And I got a great group of women out of that.
You got some guest posters out of that too.
And I got guest posts and a lot of content, podcast, and maybe after this one, since we all kind of do podcasts, we might want to do a second one about doing podcasts as a way of being a guest blogger, because podcasting, there's a lot of bloggers that podcast or that are curious about it.
Great idea.
I've come up with a couple new ways to find places to guest post and to get guest posts that I just literally fell into without even thinking about it.
Okay.
One is just from Twitter hashtags. And that's from, setting up the Twitter hashtag, and you start to see in your column, people that are talking about that, and then you start to notice the ones that are including links. And I found for some of my niche sites, I found a number of people that are blogging about the same things that I'm blogging about, that it was really easy to just, then send them a quick tweet and say, hey, would you like to do a post for my site and include a link to it? So I found some that way. And along the same vein with a paper.li page, when I've put that together based on the hashtag, I just check that page every day and see what articles people are tweeting about and go check them out. And I've found a lot of sites that way that are related to my niche. Yeah.
Very smart.
I didn't think of that, because Paper.li goes through and just kind of pulls random things. Mm-hmm. And I don't look at mine every day. I'm like, oh, yeah, look, there, I posted one.
Yeah. When I started looking at it, I started finding all kinds of people that were writing about the same things that I am.
That's great.
That's great. James, do you have any tips about how you find places you want to guest post for?
Well, that second one you just mentioned, Paper.li, I've put together half a dozen of those, and I'm doing exactly the same thing, because I've noticed what they do is a lot of the people that end up in the magazine or end up in the little e-zine there, they end up sending me a little thank you note for mentioning them.
Yes, I love the little @, messages saying thank you for posting me.
Yeah, so they don't understand quite how it works.
Right.
But it's true. It is giving them some additional exposure, and it does give us that little foot in the door to strike up a conversation, actually continue the conversation that they just started with us. So that's definitely one great way. The other way that I do is I'm continually looking at the people that are commenting down under a post. Some of the sites that I'm guest blogging on, it's not uncommon to see 50 retweets and 50 comments, and you can start to see a lot of the people in there, and you can go visit their sites and see what they're about, and I found that's working real well as well.
Beautiful.
That's great. Any closing thoughts for either of you? I mean, we've got, I think we've put together a lot of great content for bloggers.
One other thing that I would say is that when you do write the guest posts, some nice things that you should do. Number one is include the graphic, because a lot of times they're going to put it up on their site faster if you've already included a graphic for them than if they have to go out and find one.
Oh, good point.
So if you include that, they might get it up faster. A second is make sure you're promoting the post. Once they put it up, make sure that you're tweeting about it and you're putting it on your Facebook to help start driving traffic. You need to show them that you appreciate that they put it up there for you and send them some traffic. And third is make sure you also keep going back or subscribe to the comments to make sure that you're responding. If someone's leaving a comment comment, they're leaving the comment for you, not for the owner of the blog.
Yeah,
So
I run into that on Geekcast.
So you need to go back and be the one that responds to a lot of those comments.
Racing in America, going to the point about the images, they require that you send a couple of images along with it that you are the owner of. So that they know, and then if they don't like the images you sent along, they go to their stock photo and grab others.
It gets placed quicker.
It gets placed quicker, yeah. Yeah, James, wrap up thoughts from you?
I believe that this is, again, an area that is going to be absolutely huge. And I would predict that the next big affiliates, the next big bloggers, haven't probably even got started or really thought this through yet. Because if we really think about this at its core, guest posting for other people is one way to really, really build out an audience. But also gathering up guest posters for your own website. And you could literally have, dozens of people guest posting for you, if not more. And I think this really deserves a lot of attention and a lot of thought.
And I just remembered, even though we're running a little long, I did want to bring up, you mentioned that you found a WordPress plugin that makes it easy for people to submit blog posts to you.
I have, and it's absolutely brilliant. Essentially what it does is it propagates a form on one of the pages on your WordPress blog, where it's just a single form. They can come in, they can literally click a button. First, they can set up a profile and set up their username and their password, all within the form, without having to go to the the WP-admin and go through that.
Right.
They can click another button to write their post, and it's a beautiful WYSIWYG editor, so they can really edit it very nicely. But they can also manage the posts, where they can go in and see all of the posts, or only the posts that have been published, or the posts that maybe somebody submitted. And this is as the writer, this is as the guest blogger.
Right.
You can see posts that you have pending. You can see posts that may be are in draft mode, that have been rejected, or maybe the webmasters scheduled them to go out in a week. So it's a little plugin called Kish, K-I-S-H, guest posting plugin for WordPress. So Kish, K-I-S-H, guest posting plugin.
Okay,
and it's
great.
free. And I've set it up on jamesmartell.com. If you want to have a look at it, you can just go to the site and click on the Write for Us, and then scroll down. You'll actually see it there. And took me probably 15 minutes to install, get it all set up, and it's wonderful.
Well, I'll look at that, because again, one of the reasons that I haven't got more guest posts, even though I have people that are interested in writing on the topics that some of my blogs are, is that I just don't have time to go take it from an email and plug it in and add the image and all that stuff. So if it's able to be automated so that I just have to review it and click schedule or publish, that's beautiful.
That's exactly what it does.
All right. Well, I think we're about out of time for this one, and I'm really excited that we shared some really good information. James, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me over at James Martell with 2 L's, jamesmartell.com, where they can also find a link to follow me on Twitter at James Martell, and also at learn more about our trainings at affiliatemarketersbootcamp.com.
And Tricia, where can people find you?
You can find me on my blog at Tricia, TRICIA.me, or follow me on Twitter at Sunshine Tricia.
And Vinny?
You can find me on my website, vinnyohair.com, or Twitter at vinnyohair.
And you can find me at twitter.com/Loxley. And for those of you listening on iTunes that haven't been to our show notes page, you can go to bloggingabcs.com, and all of our blog posts are there with comprehensive show notes, and you can leave us comments and let us know how you're doing guest posting, and if you're stuck or you need help or you want to guest post on any of our blogs, come on in and let us know. And you can follow Blogging ABCs on Twitter also. And we'd like to thank Geekcast.fm for hosting all of our shows, and you can find other really great shows over there, podcasts, to learn how to do internet marketing better and better. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deborah.